Hi, I'm Laura, and I'm part of the team that's put this presentation together. At this moment, I'm presenting a paper in Portugal, and so I thought it would be nice to have at least a video so I could be here virtually with you and help at least discussing some background and the reasons why we engaged in this exploratory research. So it all started when Les invited me to take part in the piloting of the Matterhorn system, which records lectures and offers to the students for revision or something like that. So they're placed on the system, and they're open and free to download. So, but Les will explain a little bit more about the system later on. So when Les invited me, I thought the best module to engage in this pilot study would be the first year undergraduate module that I lead in planning. It's an urban design module, but it's in planning. And the reason for that was because I had been already using some mobile lectures, some podcast lectures. Actually, the mobile lectures project that I have been developing for a while now, called The Power of Experience, which I presented in the conference last year, has also been piloted in this module, and it's been greatly successful. So I thought it would be interesting to see how recording and transforming the main lectures of this module into podcasts could also impact on how students engage with the subject of urban design and learn urban design. So that's how it started. I have informed the students, asked if they were up for it. They said, yeah, let's do it. We booked the room that Les had installed everything. And most of my lectures, not all lectures, but most of my lectures that I gave during the semester were recorded and became available as podcasts. These podcasts were immediately after the lecture was given and recorded. They were made available in the wiki, the module wiki. We don't use the Brooks Virtual, I can't remember the name now, Brooks Virtual for the module, but we use a wiki. So all the lectures are there, and it's just very simple. The wiki acts as a website, so it's very simple for the students to go and click on the link and download the podcast and then watch the podcast afterwards. So that's how it worked, and I'm sure this will be discussed in more detail during the presentation. The main motivation to then run an evaluation, even if it's a exploratory evaluation of this, was based on some discussions in the classroom. So after the first lecture was recorded, and as I uploaded it and the students started to use it, we were left thinking about three things really. The first one was whether podcast lectures would be useful in urban design modules, because the way urban design modules work means that we don't have any exams at the end. There's no tests or any tests or anything like that. So if I give a lecture 1 week, I'm expecting students to get that information from the lecture and apply that over that same week until next week, so that they can present the application. The application is on the design of a site. So if I talk about urban design principles in one lecture, I'm expecting them to use those principles to design a site to present in the next week. So revision really is just immediately after the lecture is given. So that's one thing, because most of the material we read about podcast lectures there's a work done in Manchester talk about how useful these podcasts are for revision, for clarifying things, and some of our results will show that that's useful as well. But we were a bit unsure whether specifically in urban design this would be the case as well. So that's the first thing. The second thing we were wondering about is whether using podcast lectures pre-session, so let's say I record a lecture without any students watching it, I record the lecture in my own time and I make this lecture available as a podcast in the wiki or somewhere else, so students can watch the lecture during the week, and then when they come to class we have a structured exercise about the information given in that lecture. So we were wondering if that format, like a pre-class watching the lecture format, would free some space for design studio time. And that is that's because the way we structure the modules in urban design, usually they involve 3 hours. So the first hour is taken by a lecture. The second hour, traditional lecture. The second hour is taken by a graphics workshop of some sort. So it's like another lecture, but about a specific drawing skill. And then the third hour of the morning or the afternoon is usually called design studio session. And that's mostly taken by students presenting their work. So they design during the week and then they come to class to present to their peers and to the lecturers as well, and we comment. But there's no moment, there's no space in that morning when we can actually work together and just there's no space for structured design work. And I think that's really very important. We have that model more in the MA for urban design, but not at all in the undergraduate modules. So we were questioning as well, when I say we, it's me and the students, whether having podcast lectures that can be watched pre-class, coming to class, having a kind of structured conversation, discussion or reflection about that lecture, and then having some space to apply those principles together, students and staff together in a discussion, would be a positive format for urban design. That would be beneficial for their learning experience. So that's the second point. And the third point is something very, very common when we discuss podcast lectures, which is about attendance. So whether having that as part of the module, if that would affect attendance both pre and post class. So these three things were the key issues that we were trying to address in the research, and I'm sure now Tim and Les will let you know about all the details that's in relation to the research, how we did it, how we structured, how they analyzed the data. It's mostly their presentation, but I thought it would be nice if I just came to give my support. And I hope you enjoy, and I hope you have a good discussion at the end that will help us to think further about how we can positively use podcast lectures in urban design and in other subjects as well. Enjoy the presentation.